Now, when you think of premises that sound like it's mostly a meme and you're gonna watch it because of that, Reborn as a vending machine has gotta be up there in terms of the ludicrous ideas that you would think of. But the fact that I can leave its second episode and legit say that was not only intelligent, and seriously, intelligently written, and I'm being dead ass with that. The fact that you can have such fun with such a ridiculous premise where a majority of the show so far has been watching a vending machine give snacks and junk food to the general people of a fantasy world and watching them enjoy the sugary preservative wonders of the unhealthy diet. But the fact that when you go up against a king frog, which is flaming death galore, and you then turn said vending machine into a candy dispenser, give them 2-liter bottles of Coke, as then you give them Mentos and watch them figure out, because obviously they can't figure it out right away because they've never done it, but the idea of such a basic thing that almost every kid has done at least one point in their life, and using it to blind said monster in order to give the warriors a chance to attack. I can't believe I'm saying it, but Reborn as a vending machine is more than just a meme and is absolute must-watch isekai of this anime season. Full live reaction episode 2 is available on my Patreon if you would like to see my full uncut thoughts as I watch today's actually even better episode than its first. It's over there if you're interested. I mean, I legit enjoyed episode 1, and a majority of the comments I saw last week after I posted my video was like, bruh, I literally thought this was just gonna be a meme and I actually came out to enjoy it because the first episode was legit cute and fun. Because honestly, if you think about it, we've had a lot of like isekai fantasy world shows where it's actually just like a cooking show but in a different world. And that in a way is kind of what the vending machine one was like, where you have a character who literally is just trying to sell products in order to have enough points to live. And then you end up with this kind of like wholesome dynamic where this girl pretty much feels like she's in Death Stranding carrying her cargo around. And as we see in this episode, actually balancing the machine on her back allows her to connect her punches now. So she actually packs a mean punch and isn't going to accidentally hit the wall or someone else in the crossfire. But the idea of like watching, like even before the Mentos and Cola gag, I actually felt like this show took itself more seriously than a lot of fantasy adventure shows. Because when you think about it, right? Oh, there's a large group of monsters. Here's your adventure party of 3 to 4 people and they go off and hunt said monsters. And not saying that can't work, but that's like literally every fantasy anime and how they handle it. This show, Director Bear pops up and I'm like, Director Bear? What the hell is the Berenstain Bears doing here? But you know what? Only you can prevent forest fires. Let's see where you're gonna take us. He took the whole squad. There was dozens of them. And the fact that you actually had an entire group of people, the tents, I mean, it literally felt like the same thing when you look at medieval movies where like the king's riding out to go to battle. Like, that's how large the overall force felt. Like, it actually felt like they took it seriously. It's like, oh, we're not just gonna send our best warrior to deal with some toads or some frogs. No, like, they understand how easily people can die. And I just kind of feel like this show, it's taking itself more seriously than I was expecting with a name like this, but where it doesn't really take itself seriously, it kind of is where the comedy comes in. So the idea of a village taking the threat seriously, bringing in as many people as they can. Why would you bring a vending machine? Well, it's a thing that can replenish us. We don't have to really worry about food and supplies when this thing can do it for us. So it saves on the luggage that you have to bring together. And honestly, it's just the little moments. And every time they kind of slow it down and you watch them get excited over new wares, like he upgraded his machine to have cup ramen. So now there's also the hot water dispenser so they can obviously cook their cup ramen. It's just nice seeing a group of people feel so happy and just being like, wow, I've never tasted something like this. Because even though what they're eating half the time or drinking half the time is junk food, obviously when you compare the preservatives and the amount of sugars and fats that are in our junk food, it's gonna taste like 5-star cuisine to these people because they're probably used to lukewarm water and barely seasoned stews, right? It's a very different world than our junk food infested one. And it's just cute and adorable to see that. But I think what they do a great job at is rather than just turning the vending machine into a mobile suit or something. No. I mean, as funny as it is to think about this thing, and I hope they at least do this, like have him shoot cans of soda at monsters at some point. I think that would be pretty funny, but he's not actually going to get a turret, I don't think. And I think the idea of keeping him as like a support, so he might put up a barrier to stop an attack, or maybe he'll use a buff to enhance people. But his core thing is he is the supplier. He gives them foods and drinks, and he might be like a bit of a support item. I mean, it's kind of funny to think about the idea of maybe if he turned like a can of soda into an energy boost that enhances dexterity. But at the end of the day, it feels more like, no, the human characters will be the action, and he'll be the kind of like the support mage in a way. But the idea of really watching him in the middle of like, okay, this frog's catching up to us, they're not able to get in any attacks, so what does he do? He uses his transformation, which we were getting hints at in the opening, because at one point we see him as like a jukebox. So I was like, okay, so he's gonna be more than just a vending machine. That actually is kind of exciting to see what he could do. Like, is he gonna become a washer and dryer at some point too? Who the hell knows? But the idea of becoming a candy machine that dispenses Mentos and giving them 2-liter bottles of Coca-Cola, basically, right? What are you going to do with that? Are they naturally going to assume? No. If anything, they probably were going to assume that we needed to eat it and drink it and it would do something. But the idea of, you have this one dude, and it's so funny because like 5 minutes prior or something, he tries to rob the machine and he gets punished for it. Gets a burned hand, and honestly our girl is ready to snap his neck. The idea that they shove all those Mentos in his mouth and then he's like, they can't breathe and whatever, and then they pour the Coke and it just erupts. It's kind of genius. I personally thought what they were trying to build into was that they're going to put it in the bottle, close it, and then throw it inside the frog's mouth so that maybe he would explode or something. But the idea of using it as a way to blind it as then the other people attack is actually clever, and I have to admit, this actually has a lot more substance than even I was giving credit to in the first episode. My thought was, yeah, 12 episodes, I could watch this, and honestly, that's probably all you need. But now I kind of feel bad that the light novel got axed because of low sales, because I can actually tell that this author understands how to take a meme idea and write it into something that's kind of amazing. Like, my title's mostly jokes, it's not a masterpiece yet, and maybe it could be, but I will admit, this is actually intelligently written. There's actually a lot of heart to this one, and it actually feels like a mixture of like a slice of life restaurant adventure meets how do we take such simple modern ideas from our own world and put it in a vending machine and watch isekai folk that have never dealt with this deal with it, and it's kind of fantastic. The fact that we did go with the Mentos and Coke route, I'm just interested to see what other ridiculous, simple child activities like, you know, just school things of like, oh, hey, did you hear about this thing on the internet, and then you try it and then it happens. Like, is he gonna do more of this? Like, what is he gonna become? Why does he become a music playing device? Why does he become this device? There's actually a lot of potential, and rather than making him into this super soldier vending machine, instead he's just a cute boxo who ends up helping the general folk, and it is actually a good isekai. And I'm being dead ass with this one. This is actually pretty amazing right now. I mean, watching a majority of this episode, I'm like, yeah, no one's gonna call this like one of the best of the season, but it's a fun show. Once the Mentos and Coke comes in, I just appreciate the thing a whole much more. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but let me know what you thought down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more of that vending machine isekai greatness. And like I mentioned, we do have that full live reaction to today's wonderful episode available on my Patreon, and while you're there, you'll also get a video shout out. So today we have Robert Pierre's, Dino Gamer Luke, Ashlis, and Jonas Pierre. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.